I think you create your own luck. I believe a lot in things like karma and putting good energy out into the world and good things coming back to you. But yeah, you put yourself in these situations and you keep an open mind and you treat people with respect. And I think that often that encourages people to maybe think of you when there's an opportunity or feel comfortable enough to be able to have a conversation with you about something that they might turn into you being able to help them with something. That's usually how I think about it. I haven't just been sitting here, rubbing a lantern waiting for a genie to come out for the last 15 years. We've been too busy to do that.
Welcome to the Music Business Facts Podcast, where successful music industry experts share their industry secrets that will help you take your music career to the next level.
G'day ladies and gentlemen, Rodney Holder here, and thank you so much for joining me on my music industry podcast, Music Business Facts. And this is the first episode for 2017, so I really hope your year's going well so far. I've actually decided to scale back a little bit on the podcast release this year, and I'm certainly not stopping the podcast, but I'm definitely scaling back because I'm just doing so much more in the live and online space. So I'm doing lots of live online training, music business webinars, online courses, and some really cool mastermind groups coming up as well. So I've been doing some really great stuff, and that's why I haven't been releasing podcasts this year. But today I've got a cracker for you. But before I get into that, I would like to invite you to some free music business training that I've got coming up. It's something I'm very excited about, and it's another online music industry summit. I'm not sure if you remember, but last year I actually ran an online music industry summit, and it was really well received, and now I get to do it all again. So it's happening from this April the 3rd to April 13th. So if you've got a diary or something, you can write that down. You might be interested. I hope you are. April 3rd to April 13th, and I've got an absolute slew of awesome guests that are going to be speaking live to you guys on a variety of topics. So if you'd like to register for my online Music Business Summit, you can go to musicbusinessfacts.com/summit. Now, just to let you know, I'm going to be speaking a few times on a variety of topics, like my lecture on sponsorships and endorsements, which has been very popular in the past. I'll also be talking about copyright and music publishing and some stuff that I talk about very regularly. And like I said, I've also got some amazingly talented guests. I've got Mr. Devin Townsend delivering his awesome presentation on songwriting and creativity. I've also got Devin's manager, Andy Farrow, who's going to be lecturing on how to book international tours. I've got singer-songwriter Josh Pike talking about how to nurture a music career. I've got his manager, Greg Donovan, who's a super manager who manages a slew of fantastic acts, talking about self-management strategies and how to successfully self-manage your own music career. I've got Rod Yates from Rolling Stone talking about the media. I've got so many cool people, guys, on this summit, so I really do hope you check it out. So it's all 100% free, like I said. And you can check it out or register at musicbusinessfacts.com/summit. Or if you're already on my email list, you'll be hearing about me, about all the speakers and the lectures and the presentations. Okay, so now let's get on to today's awesome interview. And it is an awesome interview, ladies and gentlemen. I feel very privileged to have been able to speak with Mr. Jaddan Comerford, who is the founder and CEO of Unified. Now, if you don't know who Unified are, they're a music company that provides a range of services, including management, label, publishing, touring, festivals and merchandise. Everything pretty much you could want from the music business, and they've got a very diverse roster of internationally recognised and awarded artists. Now, Jaddan Comerford, he is a serious global player in the music business, and I was really honoured that he'd give up a small portion of his extremely busy life to talk with me. And the other cool thing is that Jaddan really doesn't do many interviews, so I feel especially lucky to have been able to speak with Jaddan. And off the record, I asked him, why did you choose to speak with me? I had actually been hassling him for a while, and he told me that a few people that worked for him actually recommended this podcast. So that was pretty cool. And I'd like to say, for any of you Unified employees listening in, thanks for the shout out to your boss. And also, Jaddan, if you ever do listen to this podcast, once again, mate, I do really appreciate your time because I know how busy you are. But I do hold Jaddan in really high regard. As I mentioned in the interview, I do get to meet so many aspiring young, music industry wannabes, particularly wanting to try and get into the Australian heavy music scene. And very, very few of them are actually able to go on with a career, let alone start up such an enormously successful company that services most factors of the music business, or most facets of the music business, I meant to say. So anyhow, I hope you enjoy the interview. Without any further delay, I'll shut up. And here is my interview with Mr. Jaddan Comerford from Unified. Please enjoy. Jaddan, first up, I just like to always start with asking my guests, for anyone who doesn't know who you are, could you tell us a little bit about yourself personally and what you do in the music business?
Sure. My name's Jaddan Comerford. I'm from Melbourne, Australia. Just recently moved from New York to Los Angeles, which is going to be my new home as of next year. I started a label when I was 17, back in 2001, and since then I've built up my sort of music company, which is called Unified. We're based in Melbourne with offices in Sydney, London, and soon to be Los Angeles. We work with many different styles of music and artists, and we have a management business, we have a festival, we have a merchandise arm, and a lot of other different things. About 40 of us. Just really love what I do and feel very lucky every day to be able to do what I do.
That's a great story, mate. And you started quite young. You were 17. That's starting a label in your bedroom. It's very, very Richard Branson-esque, I thought, when I read about that. And I suppose what I wanted to ask you is there anything special about you, Jaddan? I mean, as a music business teacher, I see so many young people coming in with, the dream and the passion, but very few, make it at all. And you've really seemed to sort of break through this the glass ceiling. What's so special about you, Jaddan, do you think?
I don't know if there's anything special about me. We're all special, but I just I love music, and I always love business. I love the idea of building something. So to put my passion of music and business together was a dream. But at the age that I started, I really had no concept of what could be possible. I just wanted to get amongst it. I was packing CDs in the warehouse of Shock Records, and I was putting out my friends' bands' CDs. This is before iTunes existed, not to mention Spotify. I just really got into it, and I was lucky enough to be able to live at home till I was, early 20s. So that meant that I could have an office and not have to pay rent. Mm-hmm. Just really stuck at it and believed in the artist and team and myself, I guess, and just kind of just cracked on, and every day is the same. Get up and get to it, because there's just so much to do.
Absolutely. So you would say you're a self-starter, self-motivated, highly motivated, obviously?
Yeah. As you get older, you've got to keep yourself motivated, because I'm 32, but you got to look after yourself. I spend a lot of time exercising, yoga, and things like that, just to kind of keep the mind and the body focused. But mostly I get up and I'm up and going straight away, and responding to emails within a few minutes. Wow. Of opening my eyes, and often jumping straight on the conference calls with other parts of the world. I'm pretty excited every day to get up and do what I do. That's
awesome. So I suppose it doesn't really seem like work to you anyway.
No, and when you spend as much time as we do doing it, I think if you did see it as work, you might have trouble, sticking to it, because it is such a commitment that you make. Especially for me, the concept of working with artists, working with people that have committed their life to art, and then in turn put their trust in us. I just take that very seriously. So if the phone's ringing, or there's an email coming in at a certain hour, I just, I'll respond to it if I see that it's, someone needs something. So we're just sort of always in it, and it doesn't really faze me.
It sort of skews my next question, but I wanted to ask you, do you think you work harder than the average person? Given you just told me that it's not really work to you, but obviously it is. Do you think you have an instilled work ethic that others might not have?
Yeah, I don't know, it's hard to say, but I'm very committed to what I do. I grew up watching my parents work extremely hard to be able to send us to the schools we went to, in completely different businesses, but they made all the sacrifices and worked really hard to give us everything that we were able to have. I do find myself wanting to work hard, and I like to work with good people and good musicians. So, and there's a lot of them out there. So we're we're always looking to work with great people. So maybe I work harder than other people. I don't know. I'm sure there's people that work harder than me though. There's still people out there that make me feel, like I'm not achieving as what I should be.
Yeah. Okay. And what about the concept of luck, Jaddan? Do you think that came into it in any way, shape or form? A lot of people say you've got to be lucky to get your lucky break and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think you create your own luck. I believe a lot in things like karma, and putting good energy out into the world and good things coming back to you. But yeah, you put yourself in these situations and you keep an open mind and you treat people with respect. And I think that often that encourages people to maybe think of you when there's an opportunity or feel comfortable enough to be able to have a conversation with you about something that then might turn into you being able to help them with something or, but yeah, that's usually how I think about it. I haven't just been sitting here, rubbing a lantern waiting for a genie to come out for the last 15 years. We've been too busy to do that.
No, I always like to quote the saying that luck is merely opportunity meeting preparedness, and sounds like you agree with me.
Yeah, well, you just said it in a much more succinct way than I.
Don't worry, I stole that from another person. But
okay, cool.
Before we move on with this, Jaddan, again, I see so many young people, through my TAFE course at, music business diploma. And I guess I'm just trying to get some takeaways, if you like, about how you made that transition from just being a kid in his bedroom with his label to, what I would call a titan of the music business these days. You're really sort of up there, aren't you?
Well, thank you. The first big game changer for me was, it was the 6th album that we released. It was from a band called Behind Crimson Eyes. Mm-hmm. And that was it just took off, for where I was sitting at that point. We very quickly sold, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 records. And when you've got the overhead of, nothing, because I'd use the home phone and get yelled at once a month by my mum for making too many calls to Sydney. So then to start getting that revenue in was a game changer. And that's what allowed me to hire, my best friend and get an office, and, it all went from there. It was a bit of, what do you call it? Like a bit of false hope though, because I was only 19, I think, when that happened, and it was like, oh, this is easy, but there was many rude awakenings, in the coming years where you realize that nothing's easy. And everything takes hard work and good judgment. So, and those things happen throughout our careers.
Sure.
Whether it's Amity Affliction, taking that next step to the next level, or, Advanced Joy comes along and has a number 1 Hottest 100, or we launch a festival which is profitable in its first year, or, but, in between all of those things, there's hours of hard work. And there's things that, maybe didn't quite hit the mark in the way that you thought and hoped they would. And those things are still happening every day.
Which to me, again, goes back to what we just talked about. You're putting energy out into the world. I love what you said about positive energy, and, everything I've read about you always seem to be coming back. You're trying to help others, and then occasionally some of these things come back to you. Is that how you see it? Is that a fair enough summary?
Yeah, I hope so. That's how I look at it anyway.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. I read on Tone Deaf they called you the new Gadinsky, and to me that's an enormous compliment. And I've also read that you're mates with him. But how does that sit with you, being referred to as such an influential, person in the Australian music scene?
Oh, look, it's overwhelming. Obviously, I don't necessarily think it's completely fair to him, or maybe even me.
Yeah.
Because he is Gadinsky, and not to mention Matt, who's also, an unbelievable businessman and a great person too. I'm Jaddan Comerford. My dad's name's Brent Comerford. So I get where they're coming from, and it's obviously a huge compliment. But we're also. That's not my name, obviously, but we laughed about it. We were at dinner together, a few weeks back, or just before the grand final, and he made a joke about it. It was definitely a funny moment to see that one get published. Yeah,
very cool. And again, I guess it it's just someone trying to really give you big raps, because you seem to be the man of the moment with everything that you're doing. Let's talk about you, mate, Matt Rogers. You've got obviously some great people that you've surrounded yourself with, which again, I'm assuming is advice you'd give to people when you're starting and running a business. I wanted to ask you, Jaddan, how did you get the ability to let go of your own business? So it's your business, but you're trusting other people to run it for you. Can you give me an insight into that?
Sure, yeah. So the company is run on a day-to-day level by 3 people. Matthew is the general manager and runs the sort of operational side of the business, ensures everyone's getting paid and the lights are on, and how all of our deals are getting done in line. And he has a team as well with him that does stuff. But then we've got Luke, who oversees all of the record labels, the festival, and also manages a couple of the heavier bands like Northlane and stuff like that. And we've got Nick Yates, who's up in Sydney, running our Sydney office and overseeing the whole management operation. So, I guess a few years back, I made the decision that I didn't want to, I'm the CEO of the company, and I'm in charge of the vision of the business and ensuring we're going where I want us to go. But on a day-to-day level, I'm spending a lot of time with our artists and, sort of spending time doing what I got into it for, which is to sign and develop talent. Mm-hmm. So allowing other people to run the business allows me to do that, and also allows me to spend, significant amounts of time overseas, which is where I see a lot of growth for the business.
Mm-hmm. And does that come back to the cliche that you want to be working, on your business rather than in your business?
Well, it's almost the opposite in some cases, because I'm working in it because I'm working on the artists, working with the artists. I'd probably spend 50% of my time in and on, because when I'm, managing the Amity Affliction or managing Vance Joy, that's very much working in the business. Okay. But that's because I'm applying my skills and my expertise in those areas. But yeah, the other 50% of the time, it's on the business. The phone's off, and I'm, writing plans and reviewing goals, and, really looking at where we're going, so I can ensure that we're not just getting caught up in the day-to-day and sort of just going, not heading somewhere, because you've got to be able to have a goal in mind. Otherwise, you just kind of tread water forever.
Okay. So just going back to my question, you just had to sort of trust these great people you surrounded yourself with and believe that they would do the job that you expect them to do. Yeah,
totally. And, you communicate a lot, and you have systems that ensure that, you're all on the same page and you're all heading in the right direction, or the same direction. But yeah, there's no way you could possibly do all this yourself. It just wouldn't be possible. So in order to grow, you have other people, and there's other people growing as well already within the organization, which is crucial to the future of the business, because we're still quite young as a business. We've got a long way to go. So the more leaders that we can grow, the better. The more we can achieve and the more we can deliver for artists.
Very good. Jaddan, I read that you did a Bachelor of Music Business at Victoria Uni, and my question
Correct.
Is, do you recommend anyone wanting to, get into the music industry should do something like that, or is it better to just go the School of Hard Knocks, or a combination of both?
I recommend it, yes. It's not essential. Plenty of other people have done it without it. But no, I think that it's a really valuable course, because I think that, the industry is very different to what it was, 15 years ago when I first started there.
Sure.
And there's a lot more job opportunities. There's a lot more, the industry is just more sophisticated, I think. So coming out of school, going to uni, learning a bunch of stuff before you go into the workforce, I think is really good. And plus, because I started that label when I was at uni, because you're only going to uni, handful of hours a week. You're not there, 9 to 5 every day. So you've got time to manage a band or intern at a record label, or work the door at a venue or two, or put up posters for someone. Like there's things you can do while you're doing it. So no, I do recommend it. I think it's really a really good thing.
Cool. And again, as a lecturer, you touched on something that I'm very passionate about, and that's when people are studying, they shouldn't just be studying, they should also be doing, and you were creating the label. But I see a lot of students who, they get their diploma or their degree, and then they have to begin the networking session after that, and I always say you should be doing it during it, which is exactly what sounds like what you did. Yeah,
and we hire a number of staff that have done these courses. We've hired staff that did the courses, we've hired staff that were in the courses, and left because we offered them a job, and I didn't feel bad about it because I was like, well, I guess the reason why you're doing the course is my opinion is to get a job in the industry. So we see those courses as a great place for us to find young talent.
Mm-hmm. I have spoken to some people who say you don't need them, and there'll be a lot of people listening who will listen to this, and I guess what you're saying, what I'm hearing, is that you actually take it into consideration if you see somebody present a CV to you that says they've done a diploma or a degree or something in music business. That means something to you?
Yeah, totally. Well, if someone finishes a degree, it means they've finished something. They've committed to something and they've finished it.
Yep.
No matter what you study, 3 years is a long time. So I think that it's a really important thing to acknowledge. But yeah, we call, we recently hired someone where we called someone that we know at one of the tapes and asked for a recommendation, and the person came in and we hired them. So we do take a lot from the fact that people have done those courses.
Cool. That's great to hear. Excuse me if this is a bit of a blunt question, but again, people will be listening to this and I expect they would like to know, but, can you give us any hot tips on how you get a job at Unified if for anyone's listening to this that really wants to work for your company?
Just keep an eye on our site for jobs that are going. We've got a job going at the moment. We've pretty often got jobs advertised, but that's really the best way. We don't just hire someone because they hit us up. It's we've got a specific hiring process. So when there's something going, just submit, and we'll get back to you if we think that it's you've got the right application.
And would I be right in suggesting as well, making your application and yourself as attractive? Yeah, you want to make your application as attractive as possible by showing work experience and internships that you've done and working for free for festivals, and then maybe that formal study as well.
Yeah, all those things add up, because if you just someone that's got none of that stuff, we're going to look at it and go, oh, maybe they're not experienced, versus so-and-so who's worked at Splendor and put up posters for Placket and done the door at the corner, and all those things. We go, oh wow, this person's been around, or they've interned with Mushroom or Warner or something. So all that stuff adds up.
Great, thanks so much. One of the things that come across in doing the research on you, Jaddan, is integrity. There's the cliche of the businessman who rips people off, but you don't seem to be anywhere near that. And one story I read was when the Amity Affliction was signed to your Boomtown Records label, and then you passed them on to Roadrunner because it was the right thing to do for the band. I love that. I guess I just wanted you to comment on the importance of integrity in your business, particularly in the music industry.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess that was just a situation where we just thought it was the best thing for the band, and acting as their managers as well. We were, we weren't completely cutting ourselves out of the equation, so it was a decision that we were able to make with them. I guess integrity to me is just part of who I am. I don't need to think too much about that sort of stuff. People often talk about how they're like an artist-friendly company. I usually kind of sort of frown at that statement, because I'm just like, well, if you're a music company, of course you're an artist-friendly company. Why would you be anything else?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Cool. Jaddan, you've probably got one of the most diverse management companies in Australia, with a variety of different styles and genres. Is diversification another thing that you would recommend to people who are starting a company in the music business?
Not necessarily. Whatever you feel like doing. Like we're a larger company, and so as a result, with more staff becomes more diversity, I think. But we have parts of the business that are very heavily focused on metal and hardcore, and those businesses are completely self-sustainable. So there'd be no reason why we couldn't be having a business that's got 10 people just doing a label and a festival. So no, I don't think that it's like you have to diversify. No, but I think that for us it's worked and it's allowed us to grow. But there's no reason why you couldn't just be focused on dance music or metal or folk. There's no reason why you couldn't do that.
Cool. Yeah, because when I interview different people, I get different responses. So that's very interesting, and thanks again for that. This goes back a little bit to your brand, Jaddan, because a lot of the stuff I've read about you, again, you're talking about developing your brand. Have you got any advice about building a trustworthy brand, similar to what you found with, a lot of the stuff on the web about you is about your love for Epitaph Records, and now you've built up this label that people trust. Have you got any advice for people on that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've always talked about, Epitaph and Fuway Ramen and stuff, but I've never really sort of talked about how we built our brand, to be honest with you. I think we've just sort of attached it to great music and always been consistent with how we release the music and consistent in how we market and message from the company. Mm-hmm. So whether that's obviously social media and, logo placement and website and just all the bits and pieces around that. But yeah, I think a lot of branding to me mostly comes from consistency on many levels.
Okay, and I guess also the thing about, because a question I like to ask people involved in the business is, is a record label still needed these days when obviously artists can do it independently? And an answer that comes often is that a record label is like a filter that gets rid of all of the crap. And I suppose when you sign an artist, you're putting your reputation behind it, and you're saying that, we believe in this act, and then, people like other acts you've signed. And is that another strategy, you think, that why people like your label so much?
Potentially, yeah. We're curators, so we're saying, hey, we like this, in the same way that Brett at Epitaph would say, hey, I like Rancid. And me in, the suburbs of Melbourne as a kid would go, okay, and I'd buy it. Because it's like almost like a media outlet saying you should check this out. Of course, yeah, being independent is completely achievable, and many acts are doing it successfully. But a label brings so much to the table as far as even just on the simplest level of marketing that you may not be able to achieve on your own. So especially when you're speaking to a niche and a company having expertise in that niche, you do gain a lot from being able to work with a company like ours. And it would be remiss of me, Jaddan, to not ask you, if I'm an artist or a band listening to this, how can I get in your inbox and how can I get your attention? Have you got any advice on that one? Yeah, for sure. I think it's all about music at the end of the day. If you make good music, we'll probably find it. And if you send it to us, we'll probably listen to it. And if it's good, we'll probably get in touch. So it's pretty simple. Just check out the website and, submit your music if you think it's up to scratch. Mm-hmm.
And so do you think the other side of that is that if there's an act out there who really thinks their music is smoking but people aren't paying attention, do you think there's a harsh reality there that maybe the music isn't quite at the level that it needs to be yet, in your experience?
Potentially. Yep. But, it's art, so it's subjective. And everything has a place. I listen to all sorts of weird and wonderful music. And some of it's really mainstream, big pop songs, and some of it's really weird reggae or blues from the 60s and 70s that people haven't listened to in years. So, I don't know, everything's just kind of got its place. And everyone has a taste, and that's how I look at music. Another really interesting thing I found that I read about you was that you weren't necessarily interested in making money, you were interested in building businesses. And I guess there's a few things I could run off that. The first one, when you're listening to a band, does that mean you're not necessarily thinking about, how many units you can shift? Like if you just really like something, would that be enough to make you sign it? Yeah, of course. But, just to clarify that point about making money, in order to build the business, we need to make money.
Sure.
The point is more that we reinvest very heavily into our business because we believe in the future of it. Mm-hmm. So to further answer that question, yeah, we will release something if we believe in it. But there is also a financial reality that if we only released music that very few people bought, then the company probably wouldn't continue its growth.
Yep. And you want your company to go for the next 100 years, I also read, so I think that's a great goal.
That's the plan.
Hey, on behalf of the creative industries in Australia, I wanted to thank you personally for offering your Unified grants. I think that was an incredible thing that you did, and I looked at the people who won, and that looks fantastic. And I wanted to ask, is that something that was that just a one-off, or is that something that might return next year as well? Do you know?
No, that will continue. Yes.
That's fantastic. I really, again, want to thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Jaddan, you're a successful entrepreneur. Have you got any spectacular failures that you can share with other people?
I got asked that question once and I answered it very poorly. I don't want to offend anyone in answering a question like that.
I'll cut in because a lot of entrepreneurs I interview, they say, well, a failure is a part of the learning process and that you should expect to fail.
Well, yeah, I always talk about when we're training staff or when someone else is training staff, even more importantly, letting people make mistakes is just so crucial because that's how you learn. Someone said to me when I was young, it's not a stupid question if you learn something from the answer. So, we're always learning every day. But yeah, like as far as, I should have signed the Rolling Stones or something like that. Obviously, I don't have a story like that. But no, I think failure is just part of it. And we just keep trying our best to be the best that we can be. Yep.
Cool. We're coming to the end of our time together, and I literally have another 100 questions I could ask you. But can you give me a scoop? The rumours about the Unified Live Nation partnership involved with bringing down the Download Festival. Anything you could comment on that?
It's all in discussion at the moment.
Okay, but you did say be optimistic about it.
Yeah, there's ongoing discussions about things like that at the moment. Yes.
Awesome, mate. And finally, my last question. I'm always interested in this one, but Jaddan, what would you do if you woke up in the morning and you were 17 again, and this whole Unified thing had just been a big dream? What would you do?
I'd probably just do it all over again.
Would you do anything differently?
Yeah, I would learn from all my mistakes. And I would potentially be in a different spot, but maybe I'll be in a completely different spot. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, Jaddan Comerford, I really appreciate your time. Like I said, I know you're an extremely busy guy, and to give me half an hour of your life is fantastic. Thanks so much for your words of wisdom, and hopefully I'll get to meet you one day face to face.
No worries. Thanks for your time.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Jaddan Comerford. What a wonderful guy, a seemingly wonderful guy, and an exceptionally successful businessman. It was a pleasure to speak to the man. Really hope you enjoyed the interview, and as always, I love hearing from you people, so please feel free to reach out to me anytime you like. Rodney at musicbusinessfacts.com, or I'm on Facebook at Music Business Facts. You can check that out there. If you've ever listened to any of my podcast or webinars or learnt something from the podcast or any of the stuff that I do and you're feeling tipsy, you can always send me a gift at paypal.me/musicbusinessfacts. That's paypal.me/musicbusinessfacts. And by the way, guys, paypal.me is a great way to collect money from people in any part of your business when you're starting out, or even if you're just, up and running. So check that out as well. It's a great resource. And by the way, thanks to those of you people who do donate to the show. It is always a nice little surprise when I get a little buzz in my pocket and see someone's chucked me $5 or $10 or $20 or whatever. So yes, thank you very much. It certainly all does go to contribute to keeping everything I'm doing running. Okay, so thanks again for joining me on the show. It's good to be podcasting again. I've missed it, and I'll be coming up with some new podcasts very, very soon. I've already done a couple of really great interviews with some really great content, so keep an eye on your inbox for that. You can always subscribe to the show. Go to iTunes and subscribe. I'd appreciate that as well, and always love anyone who would go to take the time to do a rating and a review in iTunes as well. I'd like to remind you about my Music Business Online Summit coming up again. You should check that out, guys. It's going to be fantastic. musicbusinessfacts.com/summit. And I've also got an amazing live event coming up in May, which I'm really excited about here in Brisbane, Australia. So if you're going to be in Australia around on the 19th of May, I'm hosting a live music business conference, and I've got some incredible speakers. So just a bit of a teaser here, but I've got Devin Townsend's going to be in town, and he's agreed to do a keynote for me. His manager, Andy Farrow, is also going to do a keynote presentation. I've got Graham Nixon, who manages Parkway Drive. I've got all these really amazing speakers. I've got great bands. So put that in your diaries as well, ladies and gentlemen. May 19th, Brisbane, Australia. Stay tuned for that. Anyhow, until I speak to you guys next time, I would like to leave you with a parting quote, and this one's from William Longwood, who said, "Dreams and dedication are a powerful combination." Love that one. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rodney Holder signing off for musicbusinessfacts.com. And as always, do something nice for somebody. Take care. See ya.
You've been listening to the Music Business Facts podcast. For more essential music business tips and information, visit musicbusinessfacts.com.